Just recently, Donald Trump disgustingly used Arlington National Cemetery as a backdrop for a political campaign event. That's not only reprehensible, but it's also illegal. Things got so bad that an Arlington National Cemetery staff member was berated and physically assaulted by Trump's staff. And now we're starting to get more details about the incident, including why Trump's team assaulted that staff member and why the police department is not filing charges. Wait until you hear these details. Josh Marshall of Talking Points Memo gave a great breakdown of what transpired. Check this out. 3 days ago, the Trump campaign held a campaign event at Arlington National Cemetery. The idea was to lay a wreath honoring the 13 members of the U.S. military who were killed during the evacuation of Kabul in 2021 and film a political ad. And that is just disgusting that they were there to film a political ad. These guys know better. You are not supposed to use Arlington National Cemetery for political purposes. That's gross. They would distribute the video and attack Vice President Harris and President Biden for not showing up for their campaign event, which they sought to portray was an established memorial. As soon as the video circulated, military policy experts I know said right off the bat they were shocked that the campaign had been allowed to hold a campaign event on the grounds of the cemetery and circulate video of it. And this is the video that Donald Trump's campaign created from the event.
We lost 13 great people. What a horrible day it was. We didn't lose one person in 18 months. And then they took over that disaster, the leaving of Afghanistan.
Donald Trump standing over the grave of a fallen soldier with a smile on his face and a thumbs up is just so gross. I don't even know where to begin with that one. Why would he think that's an appropriate thing to do? Now, this visit by Donald Trump and the political stunt was gross in itself. But we first got a hint that something had gone awry when NPR published an article saying that there was not only a verbal altercation, but an actual physical altercation between Donald Trump's staff and a staff member of the Arlington National Cemetery. A spokesman for Donald Trump's campaign, Stephen Chung, tried to make excuses and said that they had been given permission to have a photographer and videographer there at the event. They released a statement from some of the family members of the slain soldiers that said the following: "We had given our approval for President Trump's official videographer and photographer to attend the event, ensuring these sacred moments of remembrance were respectfully captured, and so we can cherish these memories forever." Now, that's fine that they were allowed to have a videographer and photographer there. And you can take photos in Arlington National Cemetery. But what you can't do is take photos and video for a political campaign stunt. According to federal law, that's actually illegal. But Stephen Chung, the Trump spokesperson, went even further and said the following disgusting thing. The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual, clearly suffering from a mental health episode, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony. And Chris LaCivita, a top Trump campaign manager, put out an even crazier statement. For a despicable individual to physically prevent President Trump's team from accompanying him to this solemn event is a disgrace and does not deserve to represent the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery. But the U.S. Army put out a rare statement rebuking the Trump campaign. Listen to this. Participants in the August 26 ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies, which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. This incident was unfortunate, and it's also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with the dignity and respect the nation's fallen deserve. So Trump's campaign was repeatedly warned by the Arlington National Cemetery staff that it was against federal law to film and make videos and take photos for a political campaign event. And yet they ignored those warnings, and when confronted by the staff, even physically pushed the staff aside. The Army statement went on to say that the Arlington National Cemetery staff member did file a report with the local police department, but charges were not filed, and now we know why. Here's Maggie Haberman of the New York Times on CNN telling us why charges were not filed.
I want to add one other note, Pam, that was important from our story tonight, which is that we had reporting that the official in question at Arlington Cemetery, she had filed a report, but then she declined to press charges, and military officials said that she was afraid that she was going to be retaliated against by Trump supporters. It's worth noting that the Trump campaign targeted her, suggesting she was having a mental health episode.
So the only reason this lady did not press charges after being physically assaulted by Trump's campaign staff was because she was concerned about being harassed by Trump supporters. And I don't blame her. You know her name would have been put out there on the internet by Trump and his supporters, and her life would have been made miserable by these people. So it's just not worth it. But how sad that she can't press charges because of how unhinged Donald Trump's supporters are. And Trump's team is even claiming they have video that proves that they were the victims in this confrontation, not the aggressor, and that they had permission to do what they were doing with this campaign video that they were filming.
Right, because Trump's team is suggesting that they actually have video to prove what they say happened. Right. Why not release it?
I'd like them to, I hope they would release it. They should release it. They have videos suggesting this shows that the confrontation is not as described. They've claimed that they had permission to be there. There is nothing to support that.
Nothing to support that, indeed. Donald Trump's team is trying to claim that they were invited to Arlington National Cemetery to film this video and take photos. But the truth is, the families invited them there to be a part of the ceremony, not to make some political campaign video out of it. And even if the families of these fallen soldiers were cool with that, it's against the law to make a video like that at Arlington National Cemetery. And this poor staff member who had repeatedly warned the Trump campaign about the law and what they can and can't do was just trying to uphold the respect and dignity of this sacred ground where these soldiers are buried and try to physically prevent Trump's team from going against that. I mean, the fact that she even had to be this involved and she put her own body on the line for the respect of those soldiers is impressive, but should have never happened in the first place. Shame on Donald Trump and his campaign staff for pulling off this political stunt. But it didn't do what Donald Trump was hoping it would accomplish. In the end, he wanted people to be mad at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for skipping this ceremony honoring these fallen soldiers in Afghanistan. But Trump made up this ceremony out of thin air. And the only thing people are talking about is Trump's staff members rudely accosting a Arlington National Cemetery staff member and disrespecting other soldiers buried there by filming some video with him smiling and giving a thumbs up. And this got the Army to release a rare statement rebuking the Trump campaign shenanigans. I have a feeling this isn't the end of the Arlington National Cemetery incident. More details will definitely be coming out. So, mission was not accomplished by Donald Trump.